Page 23. Have you found it?
Yes.
Look at that document. It is whose document? From her. It is a record form for who?
It doesn't indicate who the document belongs to, but it's a certified copy of the original. It has a stamp of the Catholic Church. It's form number 3147. I continue reading.
No. It is a document generated from which office?
It's not indicated, but there's a stamp of the Catholic Church.
There is a stamp of a Catholic Church. Were you present when that form was being filled?
No, I was not.
The document is dated when?
27th, the stamp has a date of 27th of December 2018, I think. I don't see no other date.
Were you present in that church function? To the best of your knowledge, was that document, is that document a proof of a marriage?
Your Honor, I will still revisit my previous objection. Perhaps my colleague doesn't know exactly, seem to know, is perhaps acting as if he doesn't know what is the process through which these documents are generated. For the benefit of the court.
I do object. I'm re-examining on the questions my client was asking.
Yes, but Your Honor, we cannot use the examination to extract from the client a narrative that distorts the legal process through which the documents in question are generated. And that's why I said, perhaps for the benefit of everyone, when you marry in church, it is not the state law office that marries you. It is a marriage officer who is usually a licensed minister of religion. That minister, once he marries you, he gives you a marriage certificate. That's the process under the relevant laws. After he gives you that marriage certificate, he makes a return to the state law office. It is another process which perhaps again for the benefit of everyone so that we don't extract a misleading narrative. When you want a certified copy of a marriage certificate when the marriage is celebrated in church, the process is you go to that church where the marriage was celebrated and they fill for you the documents that the witness is now being pointed to, which is the marriage record form and the certification of marriage form. It is on the strength of those documents that the state law office then issues you a certified copy of the marriage certificate. And the legal basis for all that process, Your Honor, is very simple. Actually, one does not even need to be clever to know why that is the legal process. It is because although the registrar of marriage is the supremo in terms of marriages, he's not the one who marries people in all those churches. That's why he must get these documents, the one with the stamp from the Catholic Church, before he can issue you with a certified copy of a marriage certificate. And that's why I say that to make a ruling on whether the registrar of marriages should come and whatnot, it will not serve any useful purpose. Because the registrar of marriages is not the one who marries parties in a church. He only receives returns, and these documents are next year, on the strength of which he can now issue you with a certificate. So my colleague can ask the question, but if the purpose is to build the narrative that these documents are not to be believed, or that the process through which they were issued is to be questioned, or that they are documents of the state or whatnot, or perhaps to build a case to tell you now call the registrar of marriages to come and testify here, it is wasting our time. It is being disingenuous, unless of course, and I want to hope my colleague here, I really want to believe he knows the process through which these documents are generated.
Of the respondent's case. Their view is totally different from my client's view. They are the authors of this document. They will bring that evidence according to them, through their evidence, through their witnesses. My client was put to question to confirm whether the documents at the face value establish a marriage. And I'm trying to prove to this court that these documents do not prove a marriage. That is my only noble responsibility. Counsel will have his time when he is leading his witnesses to bring that to you, but he cannot stop me from bringing out what in re-examination is the true position of the petition. And our case is totally different from their case. So, Your Honor, I may be allowed to proceed. They have their defense case. They will lead their witness the way they want.
No, it's clear that those issues were truly raised during cross-examination, where those documents were shown.
Yes.
And the very essence of re-exam is so as to now clear any hurdles in terms of their case. And this is something that counsel for the respondent kept raising with the witness, that answer the question, you'll have an opportunity to rebut that situation. So let's just proceed.
Thank you. Look at that document. Thank you. The document is generated by which body? The stamp it has on top.
It's a Tigania Catholic Church.
It is a Tigania Catholic Church. And the document you have been shown. Had you been shown this document any other time before you married Kitany-Linturi?
No, I have not seen this document before.
Were you shown this document at any time at the time of the marriage ceremony?
No, we were not shown this document.
Were you shown this document any time during the subsistence of the marriage?
No, we were not shown the document.
Is this document, according to you, a confirmation of a marriage?
As I've mentioned earlier, the document that confirms a marriage is a document from the Registrar of Marriages. This, to me, is not a Republic of Kenya Registrar of Marriages document.
So this document cannot be the basis of a confirmation of a marriage.
To me, I don't think it can be.
You were asked whether you have placed any material before this court to challenge, according to them, the establishment of a marriage. That's the question you were told. Have you placed any material to prove to the contrary? True?
Yes, I will ask that question.
Did you present material to show you conducted a marriage?
Yes, I did.
Which materials did you present to prove that you had a marriage?
Other than my own affidavit and the affidavits of my witness statements from my witnesses, I also presented photographs to show that there was a marriage between me and Kitany-Linturi.
You provided affidavits,
Yes.
both your affidavits and witness affidavits.
Yes.
You provided photos.
Yes.
Two, during cross-examination, did anybody challenge the photos you presented?
No, the only challenge that was given is whether one particular person was in that ceremony. And I confirmed that, yes, indeed, he was not, but all the other witnesses were not challenged.
So
All
all
the
the
others
photos,
challenged, yeah.
I'm asking about the photos that you produced for the marriage.
Yes.
Did you get any challenge about the marriage photos?
No.
Nobody challenged.
No.
Then, you know, now can that be an admissible question in in re-examination if no question was asked on it? Because re-examination must be confined to the matters that were covered during cross-examination. So I request that the witness's answer to that question be excised from the record, because as a matter of law, it is inadmissible in any event.
You know, the question I'm answering is, have you placed any material to prove otherwise? That was the question presented.
That was answered, but if
The
no
question was
opposition,
whether the photographs were challenged.
All right, I withdraw that one. So have you placed any material to prove otherwise?
Yes, I have.
Which material have you presented?
As I've mentioned, the affidavits, my own affidavit, the ones from my witnesses, and photographs.
Thank you. You are asked this question: have you placed any material to cast doubt on this marriage certificate?
And I answered and said I have placed a document which was a petition for a divorce.
What document did you present to challenge?
I presented a certificate, a petition for divorce that Kitany-Linturi had filed in court. It had a court stop.
Describe the document you presented.
It's a written petition. There were two documents. One is a petition, and the next page annexed to it is affidavit. It was affidavit.
Get the document. Get the document. As the document, there's the document. So on page 122 of the respondent's list of witnesses, or page 60 on our document is MJK 11, page 122. It is also in the respondent's list of witnesses, page 60. That is petition, divorce course number
128 of 2005.
128
Of 2005.
of 2005, which was filed by who?
It was filed by Kome and Mesa Advocates.
By Kome and Mesa Advocates. Who is suing?
The petitioner in this case was Kitany-Linturi.
It is Kitany-Linturi. Who is he suing?
He's suing Mercy Kaimeni.
He's suing Mercy Kaimeni. Look at the signature of the person who is suing. Is it signed?
Yes, it was.
The petition is signed?
Yes.
By who?
By Franklin Mithika.
By Catherine
Franklin
Mithika. You have been told that that document is a forgery.
Yes, we were told it was a forgery.
And it is you who forged that document.
That was the allegation that was done. That I forged.
What is the true position?
What I then did is took the document to the department, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, who are the best placed people to confirm this signature. And the DCI did their forensic investigation and confirmed that this signature indeed belongs to Franklin Mithika.
Very well. What is the finding in the DCI's forensic report? You have it?
The DCI report is submitted.
Your Honor, that is ESA. Any answer? The only person who can come and tell you the that this is truly Honorable Medeka's signature and whatnot. I think we had addressed this issue earlier on and you reserve your ruling. The most this witness can tell you is that she's been advised by that person that this is Honorable Medeka's signature. But if she is presenting that document to invite you to believe indeed it is Medeka's signature, then to that extent the evidence is yes.
Of course, she can only look at that document,
That's
not interrogate it in terms of findings, methodology, and
Yes.
all manner of things.
So the question I'm asking you, you were asked whether you have produced any evidence to challenge the perception of a validity of a marriage.
Yes.
Do you have any report from the DCR?
Yes, this is an important report that was attached to my bundle of documents.
Is that report before the court?
It is before the
It is MJK what?
It's MJK 28 or 29.
It is MJK. You have had counsel tell you that you cannot interrogate or produce this report.
Yes,
Is that true?
I have had that.
Do you have any objection for the author being someone to come and introduce that report?
I have no objection.
Thank you. You are shown an original marriage certificate. True.
Before that, other than this document of the petition, there was also a document that Kitany-Linturi gave to me once that showed that he was separated at the time.
I'm coming to that. I'm coming. You are shown an original marriage certificate.
Yes.
Do you have it?
I don't have it.
Could I have it so that the original marriage certificate? You are shown an original marriage certificate.
Unfortunately, that shown it around to the court and to the parties. My instructions are to keep it under the safe. That's the only reason I don't have it here.
You and I'll be asking that at another time that original document be presented for the purpose of this.
But I can confirm we'll have it
To show materials that you are presented, kindly show the court the other material you presented that I think I gave you.
So the other material that I have, together with the petition, was an affidavit in support of petition, again signed by.
Leave the petition. There's a document that you said the DICA gave you.
Yes, there is a University of Nairobi application form,
Which
MJK.
it is
30.
MJK 30. It is in the list of your bundles.
Your Honor, there was no cross-examination on that document. And I recall even earlier on, we addressed an objection that the issue of Medeka's education or want of it was not admissible and was not relevant in this proceeding. That's why we didn't even examine on that particular document. We can't revisit it in re-examination. Surely it's passed in evidence in chief, but not at this stage.
Your Honor, counsel will admit this question. Have you placed any material to cast doubt?
That does not still give them an open-ended re-examination. But if counsel wants to open new ground, the rule perhaps I can remind everyone is if you insist on opening a new ground in re-examination, the rule says then the witness is to be cross-examined further on those new grounds that were introduced in re-examination. And I'm not being frivolous, Your Honor. You see, I won't have an opportunity to cover that new ground now being introduced by way of re-examination. And it's irrelevant in any event, as I keep saying, because it does not go to the proof of marriage or whether the marriage took place. It does not go to establish a ground for divorce. So I don't know on what basis in any event.
The rule of the thumb is clear. Let's not go back of the thumb is very clear that you now have to deal with the issues raised at cross.
All right.
Let's stick to those parameters.
All right. You are asked, you are shown a marriage certificate. True? You are shown documents to prove a marriage. True?
Yes.
Counsel questioned you on the basis of the document he showed you to prove marriage.
Yes.
And you are told, produce evidence to challenge that position.
Yes, I was.
True?
Yes.
What evidence did you produce?
As I've
Start from number one. What evidences had you produced?
As I've mentioned earlier, I had produced a petition.
Number one.
Yes. Which comes together with the affidavit in support of that petition.
That is the first document you proved.
Yes.
Which other document did you produce?
The other document is the University of Nairobi application form where his marital status was indicated as separated.
You produced a document of the University of Nairobi.
Yes.
When did you produce that document?
Together with the bundle of documents when we were doing our petition.
Which date?
In 24th of April 2019.
That is when this document was brought to court.
Yeah.
True?
Yes.
So it is not a new document. You were not questioned on it. True? But you want the court to take notice that you have produced it as a document to challenge the marriage.
Yes.
That's all you wanted to. You didn't want to question the content because you never cross-examined. Then you are referred to page 24.
Yes.
And the question was, would you agree it is a receipt paid in Sharia house? You had that question?
I did.
You have the document?
Yes, I do.
What is the document about?
The document says original Republic of Kenya official receipt.
It is an original,
Republic of Kenya
Yes.
official receipt.
yes.
Yeah.
Who is the owner of that document?
The owner of the document.
Not the one who bought it. It comes from which office?
It is not indicated here which office.
Yes.
It only has a phone number down there and a serial number. Which
Read from original.
So it's original Republic
Then-
of Kenya
It is a Republic of Kenya
Yes.
official
official receipt.
receipt.
Yeah.
Give the number.
5897554.
Thank you. Is this document coming from Franklin Midika's office?
As per the document, from the face of it, I don't think it is.
It comes from the Republic of Kenya.
I believe so.
Yes. It is in favor of who?
Account of. Okay, the station.
It is received from?
It's received from Franklin Midika.
It is him who received this document.
Yeah.
But he's not the owner of the document.
Yeah.
Therefore, you were asked the question, which date is this document issued?
This document was issued on 24th of December 2018.
24th of December 2018.
Yes.
True?
Yes.
And this document, you were asked whether, the question is now, I want you to respond, is it a valid receipt? Does it prove marriage? Good. Yes?
My answer then and my answer today is that this is a copy of a receipt. I don't know whether it's a valid receipt or not. And unless the author of this receipt comes to verify, I will know.
Unless the author, the government of Kenya comes to you. Does that receipt confirm marriage?
No, it doesn't.
Thank you. Let us move to the document you are shown on page 25. You have found it? What is the document called? The document you are shown?
It's Republic of Kenya, the Marriage Act 2014, certified copy of certificate of marriage.
It is a certified copy
Yes.
of a certificate of marriage.
Yes.
It is also, or what? Who is the owner of that document?
I believe it is the registrar of
No, no.
marriages.
It is the Republic.
The Republic of Kenya, yes.
It is the Republic of Kenya. Is that document authored by one Kitany-Linturi?
I believe it is authored by the Republic of Kenya.
It is authored by the Republic of Kenya. You were asked whether that is not sufficient proof of marriage. What is your position?
My position is that this document, only the Republic of Kenya can come and verify.
Only the Republic
Yeah.
of Kenya can come and confirm whether that is a document. And you have no problem, as counsel said, that is hearsay. You have no problem for the Republic to come.
I have no problem.
Let's go to the video. You are shown a video. You have it. Okay. Is it there?
Unfortunately, again, Your Honor, this didn't come. But it can be availed, as I said, if, and the reason I didn't carry it is there is a consent we recorded earlier on. So my understanding was that there were no issues. That's why I didn't bother to carry it today.
I'm not asking about the technical issues about the video. I'm only asking. You were shown a video. True?
Yes, I was.
Just for proper management, because now at that level, although we had relaxed the rules by that consent as regards the admissibility of that evidence, but if you have no problem in carrying that material, let it be on board.
Actually, we had the purpose to bring all those things in. And
She
now
can't.
that we are on it, my lord, maybe you can.
You don't need the video to be brought to court.
Just for the information, for other parties, counsel and litigants appearing.
You are shown a video and you are told it is a marriage between who and who.
I was told it is a marriage between Kitany-Linturi and Kitany-Linturi.
You were told it was a marriage between Kitany-Linturi and Kitany-Linturi. When did you see that video first?
I saw it in the courtroom here.
You saw it in this courtroom. Did you have a chance to look the whole of it?
No,
You didn't have a chance.
no, I have not had a chance.
Were you shown a video? Part of it?
I was shown a part of it.
What content did you manage to see?
I saw a part where there was a wedding procession, and then I was able to see the couple that were getting married.
Did you see yourself in that video?
No, I was not.
I was not. Could the video be conclusive evidence that there's a marriage? That's the question you asked.
The video could not, because the parties to the marriage, I could only confirm one person with Kitany-Linturi. I don't know the others.
You only identify the person you know, called Kitany-Linturi. Could you identify from the video the alleged date of that marriage?
No, I cannot.
From the video, did you see signatures of a marriage being put down?
No.
From the video clip that you saw, did you see a marriage certificate?
No, I do not.
From the video footage that you saw, did you see and was it identifiable of the venue?
No, it was not.
From the video show that you saw, how many people did you identify?
I identified.
I think that one has been.
Yes.
Kindly don't repeat. She said.
Did you identify any of the parents of Kitany-Linturi in that video?
No, I did not see them because I
You
did
never
not
saw.
see from the clip I saw. I did not see them.
You never saw the parents. Did you see in the video any of the siblings of Kitany-Linturi?
No, I did not see them.
You never saw any of the siblings of Kitany-Linturi. To the best of your knowledge, do you know by this person called Mercy Kitany? Have you ever met her?
No, I've never met her.
You have never met her. You have never met her before the video? All your life, you have never met Mercy Kitany.
I've never met her, so even in the video, I don't know if she's the one.
You don't know who she is. You have been given lists of witnesses. Look at the marriage certificate that you have.
Yes.
The marriage certificate on page 20. You have it?
Yes,
It is a marriage between who and who?
it's a marriage between Franklin Mithika and Mercy Kitany.
Thank you. Kindly confirm that Franklin Mithika has sworn affidavits and witness statements,
Yes, he has.
and you have been given.
Just repeat that question.
Kindly confirm that Franklin Mithika has sworn affidavits in this case,
Yes, he has.
and kindly confirm that Franklin Mithika is going to be a witness in this case.
Yes, he is.
Kindly confirm, do you have any affidavit or witness statement of that one from Mercy Kitany?
No, I have not seen any.
Kindly confirm whether that person is listed as a witness in this matter.
From the documents I have, she's not listed.
Thank you. What information do you have of Mercy Kitany?
The only information I
have of her is through her child, because she abdicated her responsibility and gave me her child to take care of.
Your Honor, that did not first of all arise in cross-examination.
Sorry.
Issues of Mercy Kitany and what she may have abdicated and whatnot. I think we agreed with this.
You are asked this question. Have you placed any judgment evidencing dissolution of the marriage between Mercy Kitany and Franklin Kitany-Linturi? You heard that question?
Yes, I do.
What is your response? Do you have any evidence of a divorce between Mercy Kitany and Franklin Kitany-Linturi?
The information I gave then and the information I give now is that I was given a petition for divorce. And secondly, my parents, who are witnesses, were also shown a judgment which will come and verify.
Perhaps we can note Professor Wajakoya is now.
Thank you. So the question you are put to you, that do you insist there was a divorce? That was the question. You remember the question you asked?
Yes, sir.
What is your position?
My position is that there was a divorce.
There was a divorce. Who can prove whether there was a divorce before this one?
I believe it is registrar of the judiciary and registrar of marriages.
The registrar of the judiciary and the registrar of marriages. You are put to look at page 66. Look at page 66.
Yes.
You have page 66.
Yes, I do.
And the question that was put to you is, are you aware when a matter is filed, there is a register for those matters filed?
I remember the question.
The filing is where? Which filing register are we talking about? It is where?
I believe in the registrar, the registry or registrar of the judiciary.
Then you are told that the divorce was filed in a registry.
Yes.
Which registry is that?
From this document, it talks about High Court of Kenya.
The registry of the High Court of Kenya. Do you work at the registry of the High Court?
No, I don't.
You don't. You are told that in that divorce, the divorce was between Elizabeth Hennessy. Is that true?
Yes.
That's what you are told.
Yes.
And you asked whether, are you aware it could not be possible for cases to have same case numbers?
I will ask that question.
You asked that question.
Yeah.
Tell this court, do you work at the registry?
No, I don't.
Are you competent to answer to the question whether court cases can have double registration numbers?
I think only the registrar is competent. I myself am not.
Do you have a problem, the registrar of the High Court, to come and verify that information?
I have no problem.
You have no problem. Thank you. Go to page 67. You are taken to page 67.
Yes.
Initials.
EAPH versus PAH as respondent.
What's this?
PAH.
EAPH.
EAPH petitioner.
Who is the petitioner?
EAPH.
And who is the respondent?
PAH.
Can you be able to know who those parties are?
From this document, no.
Who can be able to deceive and tell this court who are these parties?
The author of this document will then be Kenya law or the courts.
So it is the registrar
The registrar.
or the Kenya law reports people,
Yes.
not you. Thank you. You are referred to a document in page 14.
Yes.
You have the document in page 14?
Yes, I do.
What is the document?
It's a witness statement for John David Mbaya.
You have it?
Yes, I do.
And you are asked, you are told the author of that document does what job?
I was told he's a lawyer.
He is a lawyer. Let it go on properly. We are not lawyers, we are advocates.
Okay, so he's an
Let
advocate.
it be very clear. He is an advocate.
Yes.
Thank you. True?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, he's an advocate.
Of the High Court.
Of the High Court. With a lot of reputation.
The younger generation usually say they are advocates of the Supreme Court because they are sworn on the other building. In our time, it was the High Court.
So he's an advocate of the High Court. True?
Yes.
And you are told, do you know this person?
Yes, I was asked.
Who is this person to you?
To me, I don't know.
Yes. In this marriage issue, what role did this advocate play?
As per the document he has sworn here, he said he was a best man and a witness.
He was a best man
Yes.
and a witness.
Yes.
True?
Yes.
Were you party of the wedding he claims to have been a best man?
No, I was not.
You are not a party to that wedding. Were you a participant in that wedding? He claims he was a witness.
No, I was not.
You are not. The wedding he claims to have been a best man is between who and who?
As per his documents, he said he solemnized they solemnized between the respondent and Mercy Kaimeni.
The wedding he was a best man is between who and who?
The respondent and Mercy Kaimeni.
Are you in the group, in the wedding yourself? So you are not part of that wedding.
No.
That wedding was when?
As per his document, it was 8th of April, the year 2000.
Had you known Franklin Kitany-Linturi by 8th of April 2000?
No, I had not.
Yes, I'm with you.
All right. Then you were given a witness statement in page 11. Were you given that document?
Yes, I was.
Okay. It is a witness statement of who?
Reverend Father Jason Misheni.
And you ask whether do you have any reason that to disbelieve him. Do you remember that question?
I do.
That do you have any reason to disbelieve the man of God? Who is this Father Jason?
As per his document.
As his document.
Yeah, as per his document, he says he's a male adult of sound mind and resident of the Meru County of the Republic of Kenya.
What does he do?
He says he's an ordained priest of the Catholic
He is
Church.
an ordained priest of?
The Catholic Church.
Jason?
Jason Misheni. Misheni, M-I-C-H-E-N-I.
He's an ordained Catholic priest.
Of the Catholic Church.
it puts me in, Your Honor, it puts me in a situation that I don't know. My employer is a Catholic university, but now I'm working. They love to understand. He is an ordained Catholic priest. And you are told, can you disbelieve a Catholic priest?
Yeah, I remember being asked that question.
What is your answer?
I remember saying that we cannot discuss issues of character because I do not know his character.
Yes.
Yes.
Is being a Catholic priest an insurance of telling the truth?
No, it is not.
Is being a Catholic priest an automatic reason to believe everything that person says?
No, it is not.
Is a Catholic priest a human?
He's a human being.
He's a human. Let's move on. He says the wedding was conducted at Tigania Parish. True? According to what you are told, the wedding was at Tigania Parish
Yes, that is.
between Mercy Kaimenyi,
Yes.
and you are asked whether you can you doubt that? What is your position?
I was not present and I cannot therefore confirm or doubt.
Thank you. The next question you asked about a decree. You remember the question you asked about a decree?
Yes, I remember.
And the question was, are you aware it is only a decree that can dissolve a marriage? You
Yeah.
remember that question?
I remember that question.
Kindly tell this court, or do you have a degree in law?
No, I do not.
You don't have a degree.
No.
Do you have the competence to know what document dissolves marriages?
No, only my lawyers, or my advocates.
That is the role of the advocate.
Yes.
Let's go to the second limb of our cross-examination. You were asked about a document that you presented to the police.
Yes.
Act. From page 75.
Yes.
You have it?
Yes, I do.
It is marked which document?
MJK4.
MJ
K4.
K4. And you are told that that document is filed in case number CMC 1044/2018.
Yes.
You're there.
Yes, I'm there.
Look at the document. Who is purported to be the owner of that document?
Myself.
Yourself. Who? Read the names.
Name Marianne Jebed Kitany, age 43 years. I read everything.
Leave the rest. That document, it's headed what?
It's headed Marianne Jebed Kitany, 43.
The heading?
Oh, personal statement.
Password. Look at page 1, that document.
Yes.
Is there your signature in that page 1?
No.
Let's go to page 2. Is there an initial or your signature on that document?
No.
Let's go to page 3. Is there a signature or a document in that signature or an initial?
No.
Page 4?
No.
Page 5?
No.
Page 6?
No.
Page 7?
No.
Page 8?
No.
Page 9?
Yes, there is.
There is what?
A signature and a date.
There is a date.
Yes.
What is the date?
12th day of October 2018.
And a signature.
Yes.
Can you identify the signature?
Yes, I can.
Whose signature is that?
It's mine.
That is your signature.
Yes.
On page?
9.
Thank you. Let us deal with the questions that were put before this court. First, is that document under oath?
No, it is not.
There is no, you never took an oath by the time that document is alleged to have been written. True?
Yes.
That statement is supposed to have been written to who?
It has no address to anyone.
It is not addressed to anybody.
Yes.
You are asked that that statement is a statement you wrote to the police.
I remember the question.
Is there a stamp of the police receiving that document?
No, there is none.
There is no police stamp receiving the document.
No.
Is the document addressed to any specific person?
No, it is not.
It is not addressed to any specific person. You are asked to explain around which date it is alleged to have been written.
Yes, I remember that.
What is the date it is alleged to have been written?
12th of October 2018.
12th of October 2018.
Yes.
Where were you on the 12th of October 2018?
Around the 12th of October 2018.
Your Honor, that question was not asked in cross-examination, so I don't think it is admissible.
All right. That document is dated when?
12th day of October 2018.
12th of October 2018. Then you are asked about the alleged inconsistencies in that document.
Yes, I was.
You remember that question?
Yes, I do.
The first inconsistency you are put to is the companies.
Yes.
You remember the companies?
Yes, I do.
And you are put to task to explain the question of the company called Article.
Yes, I remember that.
You remember that?
Yes.
Very well. Kindly tell this court what is this animal called Article?
Articon is a limited liability company that,
You'll be a bit slow.
yes,
Yes.
that was a company registered or owned by Kitany-Linturi and Kitany-Linturi. It is a company.
Who is Emily Kirote?
Kitany-Linturi is the PA to
Your Honor, now the
Kitany-Linturi.
witness is going to ground that was not covered in
Yes.
cross-examination. There were no questions in cross-examination about Emily Kirote. And really, we agreed even earlier on, even before cross-examination, unless my memory is failing me, that it was not going to serve any useful purpose to start divulging affairs of companies and parties that are not before you. The only question I recall asking this witness is whether she was aware that the registrar of companies cancelled her relatives purported shareholding in that company.
You know, I stand guided in the court will be kind enough to read to the public and to all of us the questions that were asked in relationship to the companies. Because I was present council delved so much into the companies. My client has a right to put that record straight. Your Honor, with your kind permission, to settle this matter, let us, if you will be kind enough, the court record will tell us the questions she was asked about the companies.
We were all here. We were all here.
This is massive. I can't point it out,
Yes.
but there were ground rules that we set in terms of how we engage.
Yes.
Let's stick to that.
Yes. You know, the ground rules originally during re-examination, my client was barred from dealing with companies. During cross-examination, the companies were dealt with very thoroughly. Very, very thoroughly.
Perhaps counsel can help us to tell us which specific question that was asked that he wants to address instead of bothering the court, combing through volumes and volumes of the proceedings. I don't think that would be very useful. Counsel can simply tell us this question was asked and it is the question I want now to clarify. Because as I said, Your Honor, the only question I recall, I put it to this witness that the registrar of companies cancelled our relatives' purported shareholding in this company. I don't recall issues about Kitany-Linturi that she's now mentioning and our shareholding and directorship of this company. So that's new ground she wants to introduce. And as I keep saying, Your Honor, the issue before you, at least as far as the respondents are concerned, is whether there was a marriage between the parties before you.
Your Honor, on that note, I stand to second my friend, and also to bring to the attention of this court that our learned colleague has a cocktail of colleagues who are his assistant, who ought to do notations at each and every stage, so that in case of anything, they will say, here, Your Honor, it was at this time, at this page, this was the question. That is the international standards required of competency among lawyers. And I'm not saying that we are not competent in this case, but we have three of them here who are supporting the staff to a learned colleague whose duty and obligation is to pinpoint instead of going to waste your time.
Yes. Just put the question that.
About ATCO.
Yes, I was.
And you were asked what role were you having at ATCO?
Yes, I was.
True.
Yes, I was.
What did you say, the position you were at ATCO?
I said I was the CEO.
Who asked you that question?
I was asked by Advocate Karanja.
True. Were you asked that you gained documents that you filed in this court pursuant to your position as the CEO?
Yes, I was asked.
Were you asked that the documents that were taken to the bank, you willfully and willingly released them to Franklin Kitany-Linturi?
I was
Were
asked.
those questions asked?
I was asked.
And if counsel is disputing, let them say they never asked those questions.
The issue was when she started going about what is the name of the good lady? Kitany-Linturi and whatnot. Of course, she was asked these questions. My colleague can restrict himself to the specific questions that were asked. It cannot be an opportunity to expand the case.
No. Those questions were asked, we all.
Yes.
So proceed.
That's why I'm proceeding. Kindly tell this court what is ATCO?
Articon is a limited liability company.
Yes.
That deals in road construction,
Yes.
amongst other businesses, but the main works is construction.
It deals with construction.
Yes.
You were asked whether your relatives are directors or were directors in this company.
I did mention that my relatives were directors in this company, and I needed to have explained how they were directors.
Yes,
before I
that's what I'm
stopped.
saying.
Yes. So around 2015, early 2015, Kitany-Linturi, then we were cohabiting. If you remember, I said we were cohabiting around that time.
Yes.
Asked that I go run the business while he concentrates in politics. I remember mentioning that, and that is how I got myself into the company. So while at the company,
You entered into the company as who?
as the CEO and wife of Kitany-Linturi, so I was managing the business, which was a family business, on his behalf.
So you landed the lucrative job of a CEO.
Yes. So while in the company, the issue of the financial stability of the company came up because there was a facility they had asked for in Cooperative Bank, and the facility had been denied. I think it's in part of my bundle of documents.
Yes.
And the facility had been denied because
What facility? How much money was being sought?
30 million Kenya shillings.
30 million Kenya shillings. Which document are you referring to?
It's a bank document from Cooperative Bank.
The bank.
Yes.
Who did the bank?
30 million Kenya shillings.
What did the bank respond?
The bank responded to say that the facility, that was in July of 2015.
Again, I ask, all these issues we are now drifting into about the financial viability of the company. At what point in cross-examination did they come up? The only issue in cross-examination was these witnesses' allegation that the Honorable Kitany-Linturi stole some title deeds and charged them at Family Bank, not even at the bank now. You're being referred to, but a different bank altogether. But as I keep saying, the court can tell us if we want this to be a cul-de-sac and merry-go-round, the witness can explore whatever new territory she wants, then we'll cross-examine again on all those new issues.
And I think counsel wants to put me on a straight jacket. The questions are struggling company. We are laying the basis to show how it was a struggling company. And when she came in,
There was no issue, Your Honor, about the solvency of this company. And even if there were, the company is not a party to this proceeding. I thought actually we crossed this bridge on day one of this hearing, that we were not going to take advantage of this occasion of these proceedings to draw mad at other entities and persons that will never have the opportunity to come and tell you. Of course, this witness out of the data would want to take this privileged occasion to draw all manner of allegations about the respondent and his companies and his family and whatnot. That is not the purpose of this.
the grounds for the divorce. If fraud was occasioned on my client, is one of the grounds we are laying before you for the divorce. We are not purely here only to establish. We are also providing grounds for divorce.
Your Honor, the fraud that was alleged, unless my memory has failed me, was that the Honorable Linturi stole some title deeds belonging to these witnesses' relatives and charged them. The question in cross-examination was, she was shown her own those documents, and therefore our story that the Honorable Linturi stole the title documents was not true. All these other issues about the financial accounts and the businesses of Articon and whatnot, it never arose in cross-examination. And I think we've reached a point perhaps where the court should indicate to us what is the scope of re-examination. My understanding of the law is that it is a very narrow, of all the three phases of examination of witnesses, re-examination is the narrowest. And it is confined only to clarifying the issues that were raised in cross-examination. It's not another bite at the cherry. It is not the opportunity for the witness to expand her case beyond what she was able to do during the examination in chief.
All that we all are.
The recordings are live, so we have all the questions that were pushed across to my client. So we are now together. Your Honor, the respondent is present. Miriam, yesterday you were not in court.
Yes, I was not.
Why were you not in court?
Because I'd learned of the death of my father-in-law.
Your Honor, I object.
Let me do it. We dealt with that issue.
You know, a reason why counsels put some things on record. She was not present. I'm only responding to what was said, unless they are expired. Unless they are expired.
Your Honor,
Serious allegations were put across, and I want her to respond.
Yesterday we were dealing with a statement by the petitioner on behalf by transport. And that was responded to. And a substantive ruling was given. I think for now, let's focus our energies on the other reading. Those were your expressions meant. We made a finding, we made a ruling. Let's now just.
Thank you. I hear you. You are referred to page 75. Look at the documents, page 75. Reported letter. You've dealt with it.
Yes,
So that question has been answered for page 75. True?
yes.
You are referred to page 76. True?
Yes, I was.
And you are asked the whether the question of the divorce was discussed.
Yes, I was asked.
What is the true position?
The position I held then and I still hold now is that Kitany-Linturi divorced his wife and he was free and available to marry.
So
That is why he came to my home.
that is why he came to your home.
Yes.
On what basis do you say that the Kitany-Linturi was divorced?
On three documents. One is the petition I had mentioned earlier that had been given to me. The second is the judgment that he showed my uncles. And third is this document I attached from the University of Nairobi where you had written that he was separated in 2013.
Is there any other document? For now?
For now, no.
You are referred still on page 76 on the question of formal introduction.
Yes.
And you are told that to date, there is no record anywhere showing any formal introduction of Kitany-Linturi to your people. What is the true position?
The true position is that Kitany-Linturi was formally introduced to my people, once in Nandi and another in Nairobi, before the 2016 marriage.
So there were two formal introductions.
Yes.
Highlight the two formal introductions.
So in one of the introductions in Nandi, he had come and accompanied by other members of parliament and myself for a fundraising in my mother's church. And after that, they came home.
Slowly. Yes?
He had come for a fundraising in my mother's church. And after that, there was food being done at home, or there was lunch at my home. And at my home, I did mention to my mother about him. And the next other time was in Nairobi, when my mom had visited us.
Where in particular in Nairobi?
In Kileleshwa. That is where I used to stay. And my mother had visited us, and we did make a formal introduction in an evening together with my siblings and her husband, so my brother-in-law, when the same was done.
What specific thing that happened that you called formal introduction?
Because Mithika was then shown to the family, and I mentioned to them, that this is the man I intend to spend the rest of my life with.
Did you see one Kitany-Linturi present?
Yes, he was.
You were asked by my good friend that the required rituals to sanctify a marriage have never been done.
Yes, I do.
You remember that question?
I remember the
What is the true position?
The true position is that the rituals that are required have been done, and they're still being done.
Which are these rituals that have been done?
So the first ritual is after the introductions or formal introductions, there was the second stage when Mithika proposed to me to marry me. That was done during the Valentine's Day of 2016.
We have a difficulty with that line of questioning because the witness strenuously and adamantly refused to answer the relevant questions on that issue, insisting that the experts will come and testify on those rituals. Now the problem I have is now that it is during the examination, she is happy to speak freely and extensively about them. Yet when she was being cross-examined, even after beseeching her several times and warning her, she refused to answer the questions. So the direction I'm seeking from the court, can this witness in re-examination purport now to answer questions she refused to answer during the cross-examination?
On top of that, Your Honor, I'd also like to go on record, if at all you can, for preservation in future endeavors, that this witness be committed to a psychiatric hospital examination, and also lie detector be applied.
Then I'll be seeking the court's protection. For my client, from the same counsel twice, has given an insinuation. My client needs a lie detector and also a psychiatrist test. I'll also be seeking protection on behalf of my associates whose conduct has been put to question. That this is a matter strictly before this court. So I'll urge the court to caution counsel not to go personal on my client and my associates. Then we proceed.
Wait. with what transpired on Monday when the cross-examination was conducted. She can at most, in my view, confirm that the rituals were performed, but the nitty-gritty of what constitutes what and the implications of those rituals can only be dealt with by the expert witness, who she stated she has lined up as a witness. As regards Professor Wajakoyo's sentiments, I hold that it hasn't gotten there. In my view, this court has not detected any reaction or behavior on the part of the witness to warrant the court to make such drastic orders. I want to leave it at that for now, and then we proceed.
Thank you.
Your Honor, so that luckily we live in a digital world. We spent 2 hours and a quarter cross-examining this witness, and on 99% of all the questions I asked, she refused to answer. I'm only saying this so that I would have to stand again. It cannot be that now that it is re-examination, those questions she refused to answer, she is now happy to start answering those questions, because then, having been denied the answers I was seeking by her refusing to answer those questions, it is an unfair advantage for her now or no, even of the things we've done today. She was very happy to speak about documents she was disowning yesterday extensively in re-examination. And the problem is you deny the other side the chance to test the veracity. So if she refused to answer questions yesterday, today is not the time to answer those questions through re-examination.
Okay. Those that were reserved for other witnesses should be dealt with those other witnesses.
True.
But those that she gave answers, and not answers in the form of another witness will come and clarify.
Yes.
Direct answers which she replied to questions asked substantively. Those ones she can answer.
Thank you.
Otherwise, we have an opportunity of seeing the other witnesses to clarify what she was not within her knowledge, or what she could not handle because she's not an expert in that.
Thank you. My learned friend asked you about that the marriage was conducted.
Yes, he did.
And which answer did you give?
I informed him that initially the plan was supposed to be on the 16th of April, but
That's an explanation.
yes,
When was the marriage conducted?
26th of March, 2016.
26th of March, 2016.
Yes.
You were shown a document called an invitation card.
Yes.
Have it. Have the document, the invitation card document.
It is 26 March of
2016.
20. You have it? Is that document found on marked what?
It's marked MJK 12.
MJK 12.
Yes.
You are heavily cross-examined on that document, true?
Yes, I was.
Start from the top. What is the heading in that document?
It's written engagement invitation.
Yeah?
Engagement invitation.
Engagement invitation. Proceed.
We, the family of the late Frederick Kitany and Mrs. Rhoda Kitany, in bracket Kapchomber, of Kapchemosin Village, Kaboi location, Nandi County, cordially invites. Then it has the connotations used. Then after that, to an engagement and farewell party of Miss Marianne Jebet Kitany and Honorable Kitany-Linturi, which will be held at their home ground on 16th April 2016, starting at 10 a.m. Be my guest. Then this is the day which the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Psalms 118 verse 24. Welcome. Then in Kalenjin, Koito ak Chaik. Boiboyen Kab Negigosirto Frederick Kitany and Mrs. Rhoda Kitany, Kab Chomber. Chebago Kwetab Kab Chemosin, Kaboi location, Nandi County, Kotaj, then the names of the people. En Koito ak Chaik ab Miss Marianne Jebet Kitany, ak Honorable Kitany-Linturi, Netun Mitei Enka Tarik Tamanaglo, 16th April 2016, Kongete Saitangwan Nebogarun, Wotogotin Tugul, RSVP, Marianne Jebet Kitany, cell phone. Yeah.
Kindly confirm that that document is written in English and in Kalenjin.
Yes, I have read it in English and in Kalenjin.
Kindly confirm that the document was sent in both languages to
Yes.
the people who are invited.
Yes, it was.
When is the invite? Which date are people invited?
As per the document, they were invited on the 16th of April 2016.
16th of April
2016.
2016. Did they come on the 16th of April?
No, they did not come on the 16th of April
What happened?
because the date was changed to an earlier date, and the earlier date that was changed to was 26th of March 2016.
So the date was changed to which date?
26th of March 2016.
Under what circumstances?
Because the people from Meru wanted to take advantage of the Easter holiday because of the distance they were going to cover. And Easter happened to have been 25th to 28th of March 2016 in that year. So they had to push forward the date so that they can be able to travel back and forth.
Who are these people you are calling Meru?
Kitany-Linturi told me that his people from Meru would be coming, and therefore he needed that period if the date could be changed to an earlier date.
It is evidence that the request for change of date was done by who?
Kitany-Linturi.
How was the request conveyed?
I then conveyed the same request to
How was the request of Mithika conveyed to you?
We talked about it.
How?
I can say pillow talk. It's normal husband or spouse, not husband, but conversation between two people who are engaged.
There was no document requesting for change of date.
No, there wasn't.
Your Honor, we have a problem. There is an elementary rule called rule against parole evidence. And in simple, what that rule says is when a matter has been refused in writing from or vary what is already written in the document. So the difficulty we have is the document filed in court, not just this document, but several others, say the wedding was on 16th April. Now the witness is giving you oral evidence to tell you, no, it is not what is in the written document. Take my oral evidence that the wedding was actually on 26th. So to us as the defense, that evidence, even if it can be given, is not admissible. Because there is a rule of law anyway saying it is not admissible. So even if we waste your precious judicial time receiving evidence for this witness to explain that the wedding was a date other than that set in our own document, we will just be spending the court's time, and that evidence will not assist our case, it will not assist anybody's case, it will not even assist the court.
You want to take that route, we leave it to you with your technique so that submissions will be made on the same, a finding will be made in the end.
Thank you. So, the date for the wedding changed and it became when?
26th of March 2016.
Thank you. confirm that there is an affidavit to correct and explain that position.
Yes, I signed an affidavit to correct the position.
We'll be giving you one of the dates. Look at that card. It talks about invitation.
Yes, it does.
In Kalenjin, it is called what?
Invitation.
Read the card.
It says Koito Akchai.
Koito
Akchai.
Akchai. And you do confirm that your witnesses who are experts in Nandi customary law will deal with what Koito means.
Yes, they do.
Koito.
Spell it.
Koito is Koito. Ak is AK, and then Chai, that is CHAIK. CHAIK, that's for Chai. Koito, you have it?
According to you, that is what transpired on that day.
Yes.
Koito
Akchai.
Akchai. You were asked on that day the question of people who attended.
Yes.
And you were asked one question.
Yes.
Were there siblings of Ms. Kitany-Linturi who attended?
And I said no, they were not there.
So you confirm
Yes.
his brothers and sisters were not there.
No. they
Do you
were
know
not.
them?
Yeah, I know them.
You know them.
Yes, I do.
And with certainty, you can say they were not there.
No, they were not there.
You were asked whether Midika's parents were present.
And my answer was no, they were not there.
Do you know his parents?
Yes, I do.
By name?
Yes, I do.
Give the names of the parents.
The father is the late Kitany-Linturi.
May
And,
God rest his soul in eternity.
and the mother is Linturi.
See the first name?
Julia. Peter Linturi.
So you confirm that the late father-in-law and your mother-in-law were not present.
They were not present.
Can you identify the siblings of Senator by name?
Yes, I can.
Give the names. The people who are not present.
All the names, all of them.
Yes.
Charles Kinywa, Doris Kajuju, Karithi, just forgetting the other name, Mtembe, there's Lena, the other name is disappearing. The other names are disappearing.
So all these siblings that you are managed to recall at the very difficult time like now were not present.
No, they were not.
You were asked a question about cousins.
Yes.
Did you see the cousins of Kitany-Linturi present?
I did mention that I do not know all the cousins, so I could not tell whether any of the ones who came were cousins or not.
The best of those ones you know, did you see any cousin present?
For the ones that I know, no, but I do not know whether the ones who came are cousins or not.
Those ones you know, you never saw any.
Yeah.
Your wedding was conducted under what law?
It was conducted under the Nandi
That's the
customary law.
question you asked.
Yes,
Under which law?
Nandi customary law.
Under the Nandi custom law. You might not know, but you can comment on this. Is it a condition for those siblings, parents, and cousins to attend?
I did mention that it is not a condition.
It's not a condition.
Yes.
So it's not a mandatory condition.
It's not a requirement.
Thank you. You were asked the attendance of one Mr. Kailanya?
Yes, Kailanya.
Kailanya.
Yes, I was asked that question.
You're aware about that question?
Yes, I am.
Did Mr. Kailanya attend the function?
Initially, I had mentioned orally that he attended, but I corrected the situation to say that I could now recall that he did not attend, but his wife attended the function.
Is there any evidence to show the attendance of the wife?
Yes, there is.
As the evidence is being sought, do you know?
Your Honor, there was no question as to whether the wife attended. The question was very specific. The witness and testified in chief that Kailanya was there. She was asked to confirm in cross-examination that he was there, and only changed her story when we told her we have the passport of Kailanya to show he was in the United States. At no time did we raise the issue as a defense whether Kailanya's wife was or was not there.
Well, I will move away from that matter. You were asked the question about one Silas Kamuyu.
Kamui.
Kamuyu. Yes. And you asked whether one Silas Kamui attended the function.
Yes, which I confirmed that he did.
You did confirm that he did.
Yes, that he did attend the function.
You were asked about this witness. Is he going to testify?
I was asked and I said he had been threatened, so he was not going to testify.
Who has threatened one Silas Kamui?
I mentioned that Kitany-Linturi had threatened them.
And it's evidence that Silas Kamui was in attendance.
Yes, it is my evidence he was in attendance.
You also asked about one Rufus Miriti.
Yes, I was.
True.
Yes, I was.
Did he attend the function?
Yes, he was the head of the delegation.
He was the head of the delegation.
Yes.
And you, what did you answer? Is he going to testify in this matter?
I also said he was not going to testify because he had also been threatened.
You were asked whether you have any evidence that Mr. Linturi has threatened.
Yes, I was asked that question.
Yes, what is your answer?
The answer I gave then is that I have already done an affidavit to confirm the same, that the witnesses have been threatened.
How many witnesses were you going to call from the larger Meru County? You have a list. The court can rely on that to save up time.
Yes.
Thank you. Then you were told that Kitany-Linturi did appear. If he appeared in Nandi, he must have appeared in his functions as a politician. You remember that question?
Yes. I don't know if that is how the frame of the question was. Just repeat it again.
Counsel put it to you that if at all Kitany-Linturi appeared in Nandi, he must have appeared in his official capacity as a legislator.
Okay, yeah.
You remember that question?
Yes, now I remember.
What is the true position in regard to this matter before this court?
He came to the function as to seek a hand in marriage, my hand in marriage.
Came to seek a hand in marriage. Nandi, where Nandi means your house, your home. I'm not talking about Nandi, the whole county. Did he ever visit your home on his official capacity?
No. Not as in his official as an MP?
Yeah.
No.
He has several roles.
No.
Yes.
No.
He visited your home as who?
As at the time of this function, he was coming as the man seeking a hand in marriage.
Thank you. You are given a document called the original divorce petition you filed in Meru.
Yes.
Look at it. You have it?
Again, Your Honor, the witness refused to answer all questions regarding to that document and insisted we don't answer questions about the further amended. And the record is there.
I'm not asking any question. I'm not asking any question.
Yes, I have it.
When is that document dated?
The document is dated 13th day of December 2018.
Is that your signature in that document?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Let's go to the amended plate.
Yes, I have it now.
You have it? The amended plate is dated when?
3rd April 2019.
3rd April.
2019.
Look at who is the author. Is that your signature there?
I think it is.
Dated?
It is dated?
3rd April 2019.
And that is your signature.
Yes.
Very
Your
well.
Honor, the one I have is not signed, and it is here. And again, there was no question as to whether it has a signature in any event. The one that was served on us, Your
Very
Honor,
well. I'm not only raising an issue. You are shown an amended plate.
Yes.
True?
Yes, I was.
Let's proceed. Let's go to the one you answered the questions about.
Yes.
The further amended plate.
Yes.
You have it?
Yes, I do.
It is dated when?
It's dated 17th day of June 2019.
17th day, June 2019.
Yes.
Who has signed that further amended plate?
I did.
Is it your final document before this court?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. You are asked to explain whether the marriage was conducted under which regime.
Yes, I was asked.
What is the position?
The position is under the Nandi customary law.
Your marriage was contracted under which law?
The Nandi customary law.
And is there evidence that the experts are coming to explain what a Nandi customary law is?
Yes.
Thank you. You were asked in the same breath that under the Meru law, under the Meru customary law, or Igembe customary law, chewing of miraa does not constitute a marriage.
Yes, I remember the question.
What is your position about that?
My position is, and as I said then, I do not know about the marriage customary law. I mentioned as I was informed. And I was informed that that was part of their tradition.
Were you married and which law married you?
The Nandi customary law.
You were asked whether drinking mursik, the traditional Kalenjin milk, is answer to confirmation of a marriage.
Yes, I was asked.
What is the position about mursik?
I did mention that the expert witness will come and talk about it.
Kindly confirm whether you took mursik.
Yes, I did.
Who else took the mursik?
Everybody else who was in the room, including Kitany-Linturi.
My good friend asked you whether under the Nandi marriage, is marriage a process or an event?
I remember the question.
You remember that question?
Yes.
Yes. So, what is the true position? Is marriage under the Nandi customs a process or an event?
It's a process.
It's a process. You were asked whether it is a single day event.
Yes, I remember that question.
What is the position?
The position is it's not a single day event.
It's not a single day event.
No.
My good friend took you through the steps of a Nandi customary marriage.
Yes, he did.
You remember?
Yes.
The steps.
Yes.
And the first step he told you is the first step called visiting the girl's family.
Yes, he did.
You remember that question?
Yes, he did.
What is your answer to that?
My answer to that is yes, he did visit.
He did comply
Yes, he did.
with this visiting
Yes.
of the girl.
Yes.
Who is this girl in this matter?
Myself.
Yourself.
Yes.
Thank you. He asked you the second question, called coito, in English called dowry negotiation. You remember that?
Yes, I do.
That is the second step.
Yes.
What can you say about that one?
I only did mention that in that process, I was away. I was called in to confirm that I am the lady being
Again,
married.
because we have the recording, the witness refused to answer the relevant series of questions about the 4 steps and whether it is a single day's event or a series of events. And our adamant position then was that our experts will come and testify to these things. Like I keep saying, the witness having refused to answer the questions in cross-examination, can she now purport to be answering those same questions in re-examination? And what happens to us because we won't have a chance to cross-examine on that new evidence?
And I'm not asking her to explain what coito is. That is the role of the experts. I'm only asking her, even during re-examination, what she said. Was she present or not? That is all. I'm not asking what it is.
Your Honor, you have just answered by saying marriage under Nandi customary law is a process. She yesterday had reserved this for an expert. And because of her adamantly in refusing to answer counsel's questions directly, she has now changed into a comfort zone to answer questions the way she wants to control the queen of the cage. We are not very happy about that, Your Honor. But make an observation that she's delving into an area she has reserved for a customer law expert.
I would say the nitty-gritty be left to
I'm not asking her the nitty-gritty about coito. Your Honor, I'm only asking because she's only laying the basis why she cannot explain.
No, Your
She
Honor,
was
still
not.
objection,
Let me
and I'm
finish.
really sorry. No, we have to stop this, Your Honor. Today, the witness is happy to tell you that a Nandi customary marriage is a process. She's happy to tell you today that it is not a single day's event. When she was asked those questions in cross-examination, she adamantly, I recall we spent twice the time you had allocated me, because I had to ask each question like 5 times. The witness refusing to answer or insisting some experts will answer those questions. If she had answered my question yesterday that it is a process, I would have asked the next series of questions I had planned. But because she refused to answer, I could not ask all the questions I planned to ask in cross-examination. When I asked her whether the entire marriage process can take place in a single day, like is our case, she refused to answer. If she had answered me, like the way now she's answering in re-examination, I would have asked the next series of questions to show her that if indeed it is a process, the events of a single day would never have constituted a marriage. So my question is, why is she now happy to answer these questions when she refused to submit to the best process known to ascertain the truth, which is cross-examination?
Let's say on, including those that she's saying, the expert is going to come.
The expert will deal with those issues. Let us move to. You did confirm. You were asked about dowry.
Yes.
I don't know whether counsel has an issue. You gave what answer? How much was paid?
I said I was informed of 100,000 shillings.
And you were asked if there is any photograph of any cash payment.
Yes, I was asked.
What was the answer?
I said there are no photographs. The only documents that are there are affidavits, and the person who received the money would come and confirm.
Thank you. You are heavily questioned on the gift, which is the car.
Yes.
You remember?
Yes.
And you were asked whether that car was ever transferred to your mother.
Yes, they did.
What did you answer?
My answer was that it was not transferred to her.
You were asked the car, the vehicle color.
Yes.
What is the vehicle's color?
My response was I would go as per the color that is in the logbook, and that was grey, though I had mentioned the color silver.
Who is the registered, you are asked about who is the registered owner of this car?
I said it was a company called Articon Limited.
And you are asked who is the owner of Articon?
I did say that the owner of Articon was my mother, together with the respondent. And then there was a question then posed about whether they are still the owners, and I said it is a matter before the DCI at the moment.
Thank you. Kindly confirm the registration number of this car.
The registration number is KCG 850N.
Got it. Okay.
CG 850N.
Which vehicle more, Mac?
Nissan X-Trail.
Nissan X-Trail.
Yes.
ACG?
850N.
Is this car going to be produced as an evidence in this court?
Yes, it will.
Should be produced before this court.
Yes, it will.
Thank you.
Your Honor, there was no question again whether this car will be produced as evidence in this court. That's a new matter introduced during the examination.
Thank you. We go to the questions about Sopa Lodge.
Yes.
You were asked about Sopaloj,
Yes.
and you were told that there were two questions from Mr. Mudomi and Mr. Karanja.
Yes.
We'll deal with Mr. Mudomi's question, then we'll deal with the question of Sopaloj by Mr. Karanja. And Mr. Mudomi told you that Mr. Linturi has never been at Sopaloj.
Yes, he did say that.
What is the true position?
I did confirm to him, and I confirmed today that Mr. Linturi was with me in Sopaloj on that particular date when the motion was taking place.
So it's still evidence that you are with Mr. Linturi at Sopaloj.
Yes.
Two, Mr. Mudomi asked you that he has never been there any other time.
I also did confirm that we have been there severally, and it's as part of my bunch of evidences. I had already attached documentation to show we had been to Sopaloj in the December of 2017. That is one of the other times, at least, that I have attached here, but we have been there severally.
So
Even
according
after
to
that.
you and Mr. Mithika, you have been at Sopaloj severally.
Yes.
You were asked about your prayers in the petition.
Yes.
You
I
remember
was.
the presumption of marriage
Yes, I was.
and the declaration?
Yes, I was.
Is it your evidence that those are legal issues to be dealt by the lawyers?
Yes, they are.
Thank you. You are given to look at page 100. Page 100 is an order. There's an order, page 100.
Yes, I do recall.
The order dated 25th of 10, 2018.
Yes.
And you are told that among the orders you are given are exclusive occupation.
Yes, I was told that.
You asked about that.
Yes.
What is your response to that question?
The response is as per what the order was, that I have exclusive occupation for me and the 6 children.
Is it your evidence that those are matters to be dealt by your lawyers
And
during the submissions?
I agree with that.
Thank you. You were taken through file number CMC 1044 of 2018.
Yes, I remember.
You remember?
Yes.
And counsel asked you that the case was dismissed on 11th of December
Yes, I
because
remember.
counsel, the then advocate, not that's according to him, the then advocate came late and the matter had been dismissed.
Yes, I remember.
Is it your evidence that that can be dealt by your lawyers?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Those are also leading questions, Your Honor, in the system. When the counsel already answered the question, is it your evidence that this will be dealt with by your lawyers? Those are leading questions, and they are not admissible in re-examination. And even when the witness answers those questions, even if it goes to the record, that evidence is worthless as a matter of law.
Well, go to order, page 100, order dated 25th of 10 of 2018.
Yes.
You asked that question.
Yes.
What is your position?
My position is that these are questions of law that I cannot answer.
Thank you. Go to the question on case number 1044 2018. What is your position?
Again, it's, there are questions of law that my advocate will deal with them.
Thank you. You were told there is a case number 1260 of 2018,
Yes, I remember that question.
and counsel testified that you and him were in court before a judicial officer. I don't want to mention that. True?
I did confirm that I was not in that court.
What is the true position?
The true position is I was not in that court.
You never were in on that day in 1260 2018.
No, I was not.
And the last question my good brother asked you is about HCC 71, the High Court matter before a learned judge. True?
Yes.
What is the position? Where were you on this date?
I did attend that particular court session.
You attended this matter, HCC 71 of 2018,
Yes.
before Justice Onyeko.
Yes, I did.
Thank you. So that marks the end of the questions you were asked by Mr. Mudomi. Okay?
Yes.
We now move to the second limb of cross-examination by Mr. my good friend, the only Mr. Karanja. Sorry. Mr. Mudomi asked you about this question fair twice, about how the title deeds was stolen, or you voluntarily gave your title deeds to Mr. Kitany-Linturi. You remember that question?
I remember.
What answer did you give?
I said that the title deeds was stolen.
You did tell Mr. Mudomi and the court that the title deeds were stolen.
Yes, I did.
What is the position now?
The position is they were stolen.
Who stole the title deeds?
Kitany-Linturi.
Thank you. Let's go to Mr. Karanja's question. Okay?
Yes.
Mr. Karanja asked you the first question. The civil divorce processes
Yes.
of filing a petition and the others. What is your position?
That would be my lawyer, my advocate to answer.
Those are legal.
They are legal questions.
The second question you are asked is that you claimed you purported to finance a trip to Australia
Yes, I remember the
worth
question.
11 million shillings,
Yes, I remember the question.
2014.
Yes.
True?
Yes.
What is the position of that question?
The position is, yes, I financed that trip.
You did finance the trip.
Yes.
You do confirm that.
Yes, I do confirm.
Number two, you, Mr. Karanja asked you about the Meru house.
Yes, he did.
There are two, how many houses are in Meru that are a subject of matter in this case?
2 houses.
2 houses. Let us start with the first one. Mr. Karanja asked you about the 26 million.
Yes, he did.
What is the position of the 26 million shillings and the Meru house?
I did say that I'm the one who financed that amount.
You did finance that amount.
Yes.
For what house? For whose house?
For our house, which was our house in Kitany-Linturi.
Thank you.
Our home.
The third question was about another house.
Yes.
How much did you spend in that house?
8 million shillings.
8 million shillings.
Yes.
Whose house was it?
My parents-in-law.
Your parents-in-law's house.
Yes.
Who?
The late Kitany-Linturi and Julia-Linturi.
You do confirm
Yes, I do confirm.
that you built that house.
Yes, I do confirm.
Thank you.
I even did mention that I have a witness who will come and confirm the same.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Karanja told you, when did you lose your job?
Yes, I remember the question.
Yes.
And I did mention that I lost my job around 2015.
You lost your job around 2015.
Yes.
Which job is this you are losing?
That is the job of Chief of Staff at the Office of the Deputy President.
That is when you lost that job.
Yes.
Mr. Karanja asked you when you joined Articon Limited.
I remember the question.
What was your answer and what is the true position?
I do recall telling him that I joined around towards the end of 2015 till August of 2018.
Thank you.
Yes.
You were asked you joined Articon as who?
I remember the question, and I remember answering that I joined as a CEO and as a spouse to Kitany-Linturi.
You were asked this question. How much were you being paid at Articon?
I remember the question, and I said I would be given small monies by Mithika once in a while.
You used to get small monies
Yes.
from Mithika. Then you were asked, then what is the source of your money? How many properties do you have? You remember that question?
I remember the question.
What was your answer?
My response was, I have pieces of land. He asked me whether those pieces of land I have sold, and I said no. The proceeds from the pieces of land, I said yes, they are trees. And I also mentioned that I had savings that I had made from when I started employment.
So the question was to show whether you had resources.
Yes, it was.
Kindly prove that you had resources.
I did mention in my examination
Examination in chief.
that I started working immediately I finished Form 4. And by the time I was done with my first degree, I already had millions. And by the time I moved to the Deputy President's office in 2013, I already had made substantial amounts of money.
You asked a very hard question. Do you do returns to KRA?
I remember the question, and my answer to that was yes, I do.
Mr. Karanja asked you one question about the politics. That were you registered as a voter in Meru?
Yes, I remember the question. And
What is the true position
And
about
I confirmed that I'm not registered as a voter in Meru. I was registered as a voter in Nairobi, and I did not transfer my vote to Meru.
Why were you registered in Meru?
That was my first point of registration, and I have always been a registered member of Nairobi. But I did mention that I had responsibilities I was doing for the senator and his team in Nairobi, and hence the reason I needed to vote in Nairobi so I can do those responsibilities regarding his election.
Mr. Karanja still delved into the SOPA issue. You are aware?
Yes, he did.
And he asked you that you lured Senator.
Yes, I remember the question.
You lured Senator. And that it was a plan to make sure he's not present in Parliament.
I remember the question.
What is the true position over this issue about SOPA?
The true position about SOPA is that Kitany-Linturi and myself became friends, and in the process of discussing this matter about that, I don't want to mention names,
Yes.
about the impeachment, we became intimate, and we then went to Naivasha with him, and this was 2 willing adults who went to Naivasha.
So the intimacy was there before Naivasha.
It was in Naivasha.
Thank you. Mr. Karanja went to the properties in Runda.
Yes.
And he asked you how the land in Runda was bought.
I remember the question. And
What is the true position about how the land in Runda was bought?
my response and the true position is that the land in Runda was bought through company monies, and that those company monies had been acquired from a facility taken with a bank with titles belonging to my parents. And my
Go slow.
response-
Explain that slowly.
I said that the property in Runda was procured using the company Articon.
Slowly, yes.
This company Articon resources came from a facility that had been taken from Family Bank using properties and titles belonging to my mother and my relatives.
The money was sourced from a bank,
Yes.
according to you.
Yes.
This money was paid to who? Who was selling?
It
You
was.
remember me when I was talking about the vendor and the seller?
Yes.
Yes.
I remember that. It
Who
was-
sold this land to you?
The money was paid to a company called King's Commodities.
King's Commodities.
Yes.
And you know the amount that was paid?
38 million.
38.
Yeah, I can get the figures. $38,700,000.
That's that document marked what?
MJK 17.
MJK 17. You remember Mr. Karanja told you that you filed a case in a children's court.
Yes, he did.
You remember that?
Yes, yes, I do.
And you were asked that you were asking fees, that you have the father, the biological father of your children is paying school fees.
Yes, I remember the question.
So what is the true position about the children's case matter?
I do recall mentioning that I had filed the children's case with many prayers, one of the prayers being maintenance of those children, and these were all the 6 children. And I did say that the matter is, has been appealed, so it's under appeal.
So that is the position of that matter.
Yes, it is.
Stand the High Court.
Yes.
You were asked a question about your sister's kid.
Yes, I remember I was.
You remember that question?
Yes.
And you were told that your sister works in Dubai.
Yes, I remember the question.
True?
Yes.
What is the true position about that matter?
I did mention that my sister used to work in Dubai until the year 2014, and by the time she left, I had custody, I was given custody of the child to date.
Mr. Karanja still delved further on the property issues and asked you about the titles that you claim were stolen.
Yes, I remember the question.
That's the second time that matter is coming up.
Yes.
So what did you answer and what is the true position about the titles being stolen?
I think he referred me to a paragraph in the affidavit.
Yes. Paragraph 83
83.
on page 16. You have that paragraph?
Yes, I have.
Read the paragraph that you are told to read.
That my brother Collins Ngetich approached the board of his company, the so-called Barons Estates Limited, who resolved to guarantee the defendant's facilities in exchange for shares in the said defendant's company, the so-called Article Limited.
What is the true position of that matter?
I did mention that the properties belonging to my brother and the other directors was stolen, because as much as these properties, Collins was approached, he gave minutes, the minutes were doctored, and new minutes and new documents were taken to the bank, and their signatures were forged.
Thank you. You were asked a question about the tenants agreement.
Yes, I
You remember by my good friend, Mr. Karanja?
Yes, I was.
I have the document of the tenants agreement.
Yes, I do.
You have it?
Yes.
And you were asked that the tenants agreement is between who and who?
I had said between George Munge and Linkit Limited.
Who is this monster called Linkit?
The question he asked was who the signatures. the
I'm
owner of
heading
the
there.
signature. Okay,
I want you to lay the basis. Who is Linkit?
Linkit is a name, a connotation from Linturi, Kitany. And
Your Honor,
it is-
again, that's new evidence
I avoid
in
that.
the examination.
Avoid that. Let's proceed.
so I was.
This agreement, you were asked who signed the agreement.
I did mention that I do not know the signatures of these people who signed, because at that time the company did not belong to my son and his daughter, but now it does.
At that time, the company did not belong to who?
My son and his daughter.
And therefore, you are saying, do you know the signatories?
These two signatories, no.
When is that lease agreement being done?
It was done on 18th of August 2015.
August, 18th of August?
2015.
And according to you, had any of your relatives come into that company?
No.
Thank you. You were asked the rent in that lease agreement
Yes.
of 3.6 million
Yes.
was paid.
Yes, that is for the first year. And however, we stayed in that house for 2 years and 3
Let
months.
us deal with the first one.
Okay.
The rent there is how much?
The rent was supposed to be 300,000 per month.
Did you pay?
It was paid by his company, Article Limited.
And that time you are not part of it.
No.
Thank you. Then you say it proceeded, the lease proceeded for how long?
For another 1 year, 3 months after the lease period expired.
Thank you. Did you pay?
Yes, I'm the one who paid after that.
My good friend asked you about a power of attorney.
Yes, I remember the
You
question.
remember the question about the power of attorney?
Yes.
The power of attorney you were asked was coming from barons.
Yes, I remember the question.
You remember that question?
Yes, I do.
What is the position of that question you were asked about the power of attorney?
I do recall informing him that I am not aware of any power of attorney, and I'm not aware of any registered power of attorney.
Do you have all the responses from Mr. Linturi in this matter?
Yes, I have.
Have you seen any power of attorney presented to you?
No, I haven't.
You were asked whether you have sold any land or any property. You remember that question?
Yes, I do.
What is your true position?
My true position is I have not sold any land.
You have not sold any land. Mr. Karanja still went to the Nandi customs about the marriage.
Yes.
True?
Yes, I did.
And you were asked to explain what happened in the house.
Yes, I remember.
What did you tell the court?
I do not know what happened in the house.
You don't know what happened in the house.
No.
Thank you. Still the question about Articon CEO came.
Yes.
You remember that question?
Yes, I do.
Yes. And you were asked that you became a CEO, and by virtue of being a CEO, you abused that privilege by getting documents.
I remember the question.
Thank you. Explain to this court the true position.
The true position is that, yes, I became a CEO of the company around 2015, and it was to take care of the interests of Kitany-Linturi. I think that is what I mentioned yesterday, being my husband. And I got access to these documents by virtue of me being in that position as CEO and as a spouse of Kitany-Linturi.
Did you abuse the privilege?
I
That's
did,
the question.
I did mention that I did not abuse any privilege.
Thank you. Mr. Karanja went far to ask you whether there was any agreement to that effect. That you will go to be a CEO and Mithika goes to politics.
I
You
told
remember that question?
Yes, I do.
What is your answer?
I did remember saying that there was an agreement between me and Mithika, and this agreement was it's a relationship talk, so it's a pillow talk, I should call it.
So there is no written agreement.
No written agreement.
You confirm to this court.
Yes, I do.
Thank you. You were asked on the question of
The
cohabitation.
position is that we cohabited with Kitany-Linturi from around June 2014 until when we went for the marriage engagement or marriage ceremony in 2016.
So the cohabitation
After-
started when?
Around June
Around?
2014.
Around June?
2014.
June 20. That catapulted to a specific day. You are calling a marriage?
Yes.
On which day?
March 2016. And after that, we lived as husband and wife.
Mr. Karanja asked you that your position in this marriage, you were a fourth wife.
Yes, I remember.
You remember that question?
Yes, I do.
And wondered loudly how, with all your intelligence, you could be a fourth wife.
Yes, I remember that.
What is your position?
My position that I told him, and it is now, is about issues to do with love and not issues to do with books. Love is love, and it is matters heart. And I also did mention that issues to do with love and trust.
So the basis of you entering the fourth marriage is what?
Love,
And what?
trust.
Mr. Karanja relaxed at that pose. True?
Yes.
Mr. Professor Wajakoya. As CEO, and you started being a spouse.
I remember the question.
When did you stop being a CEO and became a wife? Professor Wajakoya, my good friend, asked one question. Did you change your national identification card to include the name of Kitany-Linturi?
I remember the question, and
Yes.
my answer to him was that I did not change, just like I did not change even in my first marriage because it's not a requirement.
So that was the position.
Yes, and it's the position.
And can you confirm that your name still reads who is full names?
My names as per my national ID is Marianne Jebet Kitany.
Who is Marianne?
Marianne is my first name. Jebet is my middle name, and Kitany is my father's name.
So you still retain the identity of your father. Thank you. Did you change the names in the first marriage?
No, I do not.
You did not. The second question Professor Wajakoya told you is that you have depicted his client as a fraudster.
Yes, I remember the question.
That the image you have you have painted of Mr. Linturi is a serious fraudster. You remember that question?
I remember the question.
What is your position?
When he asked that question, I remember mentioning to him that he defrauded me and our relatives with the companies. He took documents from the house and went and forged signatures to get facilities. I also did mention to him that by producing the documents that he has produced now that he was married means that he was defrauding. The other document I need to mention here is that in 2017, when he took a facility for the Runda house, he did mention in an affidavit that he is not married. He's single and therefore does not need spousal consent.
Your Honor, that particular part she has said, she didn't answer it. She's now prolonging my answer and taking advantage by making it look sweeter.
Mr. Wajakoya asked you. Oh, sorry. Academicians are so specific, but academic lawyers are not specific. They prefer counsel to professor. Thank you. He has insisted I also take that line, but my agent.
Just for the record, he too is an academic who depots up as a legal practitioner. A disease that also seems to have afflicted me. But this side is safe, Your Honor.
To add to that, Your Honor, just about to get his doctorate. We are former schoolmates in Warwick.
This is a team of both academicians and seasoned practitioners. Yeah, with my able team here. Thank you. That is all I have.
Put together, we are looking at like about 50 degrees.
50 degrees combined in this case.
Including those of the parties here.
Yes.
And of course, to add a footnote, I'm doing my second PhD.
You are serious intellectual and legal discourse.
This man on a light note because sparks were flying all over.
Yes.
This will not be recorded. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Professor Wajakoya told you that have you ever been to see a doctor, a psychiatrist, for any other ailments that I wouldn't want to talk about? What is your position?
I remember he did mention, and I told him I have not.
To the best of your knowledge,
Yes.
what can you say of your health status? General, you're not a doctor.
No, I'm not a doctor, but from how I feel,
Yes.
I'm a healthy person and very fit person.
Do you remember the last time you were admitted in a hospital?
Admission is when I was delivering my second child. That's the last time.
Thank you. But we don't call those admissions. Admissions is out of patient sickness. So it is your evidence. Is your mind sane?
Yes, it is.
You are sure?
Yes, it is.
And you want the court to take you that you are of sound mind?
Yes.
Thank you. Then you are told by a professor that you have lied. If I could be allowed to tell my students in the university, I'll tell them it's called a pathological liar. Are you one?
To answer that question, I'm not a pathological liar, but to answer the question whether I've lied, yes, I have lied when I was a baby in school. Those are lies that you do in school, yes. But to these proceedings, I have not lied.
For these proceedings, have you lied?
No, I have not. I'm under oath.
But you confirmed to this court that you used to lie when you have eaten your mother's sugar.
Yes.
Thank you. When you are a baby. Lastly, Ms. Professor Ojakoya asked you the last issue again about SOPA.
Yes.
The three councils are busy on this question, that you lured Mr. Linturi to SOPA. Lured. That was the term you had that?
I did.
What is the position?
The position is I did not lure him to SOPA, and I still confirm that we went to SOPA, the two of us, on a willing basis. So we are not to use the term willing buyer, willing seller, but we did go to SOPA on our own terms.
Thank you. You have come to this court. These are the final 4 prayers.
Yes.
You have come before this.
Yes, I
True?
have. Yes, I have.
What prayers are you seeking before this honorable court?
The prayers I'm seeking is for divorce from the marriage between myself and Kitany-Linturi.
Have you sat with your husband, Mr. Linturi, Franklin, and agreed to divorce?
No, we have not.
You have not sat and agreed. Have you been forced or coerced to come to this court to seek for divorce?
No, I have not.
Have you filed any matter in this country or any other country globally for the divorce of one Franklin Kitany-Linturi?
No, I have not.
You have never filed any matter anywhere. Are you seeking for any costs in this matter when the court decides?
Yes, I am.
You'll be seeking for costs. Kindly those are the prayers you are seeking before this court.
Yes.
I don't see a ring on your finger.
Yes, it's not there.
You gave it to me or to am I right?
Now, my ring was stolen in December of 2018 when the goons came to our house, and it was part of my
I think
documents.
this is necessary. Clearly never arose examination. I don't, there was a series of last questions, but because I thought they were routine, I didn't even want to interject. But now, a serious matter is being alleged that the ring was stolen. I mean, this is a criminal offense.
All right. You were asked about a matter my good Wakili Anita Masaki has reminded me. Sorry, Your Honor, for being not orderly. 1044.
Yes.
You remember the orders of 1044?
Yes.
You remember the protection orders that you were given?
Yes.
Why were you given protection orders? That is what Mr. Mudomi asked you.
Yes, it was.
You can clarify why.
I was given the orders because of protection from domestic violence, and that domestic violence is what we experienced on the 19th of December when Kitany-Linturi together with goons and accompanied by police came to our house.
That line of answering was the question was yes or no, but by elaborating into what was not there before, that opens up the need for us also to question on that question.
And it's not even true, Your Honor. Those orders were issued way back in October, ex parte. They were actually issued ex parte. So we don't want to go there. I don't think it helps anything, so let's avoid the unnecessary discomfort it creates.
Okay, so in any event, let's wind down. We have reached the tail end.
Very well. Very well. Very well. You have condolences for the late himself?
No. Let's not go there. I've ruled on that.
My client wanted to pass condolences. But the court had already ruled that we can do.
Those ones you can do out there.
We can do the
If
condolences.
you meet on the road.
Or perhaps she can look for the respondent. It may save us all the trouble of dealing with this problem. She can look for the respondent and convey the condolences.
She will. You can even see she's in a morning dress.
Your Honor, you can also affirm that yesterday she went there, so she ought to have done it there.
No, the respondent was not. But she was. And she's in a morning dress, but your condolences, I passed them yesterday.
Thank you.
Your Honor, that is the end of the plaintiff's case as PW1. We have, you can have a seat, we have other witnesses, 22 in number, but we will scale them as we proceed. We are ready to proceed with the second witness.
There's stipulations, perhaps to suggest a land because
Okay, but in our early engagement with council, we had more or less agreed on certain ways on how we are going to proceed from now henceforth. So I want you to just think through probably Mr. Mudomi.
We can make a short, Your Honor, speaking for the respondent. I don't mind now us hearing this matter going forward in camera. The way we usually hear these cases, the remaining part of this case, will be heard in public. If that's how the petitioner prefers, I'll leave it to the court. But I have no problem.
Then we can have a meeting in your chambers briefly, so that we have a discussion. Then the court can make decisions.
Okay, let's take a break, but just think through.
Or now we should handle this matter both as a matter of case management and also as a matter of the concerns that have arisen as to the live streaming of the proceedings. We have agreed on case management number one that the remaining witnesses will adopt their written witness statement. We have agreed that while that happens, the petitioner will make the decision on how many of the 22 witnesses they actually will need to call. And the consensus is that they will try to scale down on the number, of course, based on their best judgment. now that the main witness has given evidence. We have also agreed that given the fatigue that everyone must have gone through, give everyone an opportunity to refresh. They say change is good, rather all work and no play. I don't know what they say, they storm, they make a dull boy. Karanja has a serious penthouse in Naivasha, near Sofa Lodge, where we hope to unwind. We've also agreed that we could have further hearings on the 24th, 25th, and the 26th of this month. Those are the dates we've agreed upon by way of consent. Lastly, Your Honor, there are concerns that have been raised by the Nairobi Law Society
Proceed.
on 26th of September, the year 2019 AD.
Yes.
Lastly, Your Honor, there were concerns that have been raised about the decision of the parties to have this matter heard in public, and specifically having it streamed live on television. As the bar, we have reflected on the issue, and the decision we've agreed upon is one that balances the competing concerns. There was a consensus that if we absolutely shut out the media at this stage, there are those people who will ask legitimate questions. Then why has the media been suddenly shut out, having been allowed to cover the main part of the case? But we were also alive that there were people who were uneasy, even though it is not their case, with the live streaming of this matter. Of course, we want to reiterate this was a decision of the parties, and nobody should be heard to attribute any wrongdoing to the court on how the matter was argued in public. It was a decision made by the parties. Anyone who is aggrieved by that decision should direct their anger and disappointment to the parties, not to the court. And the decision we thought reflects a compromise that balances all these competing concerns, was that this matter will still be heard in public. The media can attend if they are so interested, but there shall be no live streaming of these proceedings. The media can record in court. When they go to produce their news bulletin or whatever, they can report on the matter, but there will be no live streaming. We know that decision achieves the compromise because it doesn't shut out the media, and it also accommodates the concerns of those who felt that having the matter streamed live to reach certain established norms of handling this type of case. So that's the common position across the bar. Of course, we leave all these suggestions to the court, and we'll take directions from the court accordingly.
Media. For me, I'm 60 years old. I've lost my marriage. My kids and my relatives will be watching. What will be the futuristic effect on them? What will be sanctified in my children's lifetime when they go to school and fingers are pointed at them and say, that is the professor who was. So for public good, public interest media, you have a right to cover. But you are also constitutionally allowed to cover. But please, take it in your heart that we are begging the court to make a decision. Somehow it's good to work as a family. That's why I keep on laughing. My colleagues, we are not enemies. We just come here to ask the court to make fatal judgment. I rest my case.
We wish to associate ourselves with the sentiments of a good colleague. That is a decision arrived by both parties. The same way the parties arrived at live stream of the media, the same way we have arrived at a position that live stream shall cease. We want to confirm and appreciate the role of the media, because it has been reporting very accurately. And Your Honor, you can attest that when I could not be able to get the cross-examination questions that were presented to my client, I simply went to the live recordings that were on YouTube. I got all the questions that my learned friend Udomi asked, and within 5 minutes, I was able to do the examination. That being the case,
conducting this matter up to this stage in a professional way. The consensus reached by parties is hereby adopted. This matter is adjourned from today's procedure list, and further hearing will be on 24th September 2019, commencing 11 a.m. on the following 3 days. Yes, we will now stop the live streaming of these proceedings, but members of the media are allowed to come and follow the proceedings, as it were, and make reports for reasons that have been advanced by members of the bar. I will leave it at that. I will not really rub it in, and just ask that we also continue reporting responsibly, so that members, the public, can know what's going on. So we leave it at that for now. So we meet on 24th. On Friday, the matter is adjourned. 24th at 11.